All right, welcome to today's video, which is all about hot air balloons and sandbags. Because you got to cut that shit off. Cut those sandbags out of there. Price is way too high, you got to cut it. You know that song. So, okay, let me take it down a notch. A couple weeks ago, I was having a conversation with my friend Clay about trying to be in this creative space and create and do my work while also healing and grieving and going through some trauma. I'm trying to do both at the same time. Still am, in fact. And it's a trip. It's not easy. And he was wonderful. He listened to me. He witnessed me. He didn't try to fix or change right off the bat. But what we ended up talking about was being a hot air balloon. How many of you feel like a hot air balloon? Do you feel like a hot air balloon? I do. I straight up do. Like, my baseline is light, filled with energy, optimistic, happy. Like, I know how to source myself, and I know how to eke every drop out of life because I love life. I have so much fun with my life. So contrast that to when I am feeling heavy and I'm feeling overwhelmed and I'm crying all the time and I'm feeling bad. It's a real contrast to the baseline of who I am, just intrinsically, okay? So I was talking to him about all of this, and really the point, what really came from our conversation, the reason this blog post exists is, if you are watching this, you are probably, and if you've been on my email list, if you've been with me for a while, you are probably someone who can source themselves and understands that life is school and an opportunity and fun, and that you have a lot of potential. You're probably a freaking hot air balloon, okay? I feel like a hot air balloon because I feel like my potential is limitless, okay? It's not narcissistic to say, it's the straight up truth. I hope everyone feels that way about themselves, that your potential is here, that your spirit is here, and that you're really boundless. And it's just life's circumstances and being in this human meat sack that is binding you, okay? And that's what a hot air balloon is. It's like got this flame that's just shooting up, and the thing that keeps it down are sandbags. And so, this is gonna be controversial. I don't care. This has been my experience in life. Let me throw a big ass disclaimer in this whole thing, which is, number one, I love my family and my friends. They are the foundation. They are a foundational part of my life. And on to the real topic is, they have also been sandbags in my life, okay? We don't need to go into who's a sandbag, who's not, but I will say the mentality that I was raised with, my culture, the Indian culture, and just parts of it that are really myopic are straight up sandbags and have been sandbags to me getting to where I need to be. I'm not denouncing it. They've made me who I am because this is why I've fought since I was so young to be who I am and to understand how to generate confidence with myself and to light my own fire as an hot air balloon, okay? But I will say, family members of mine, seeking the approval of my parents and how they sort of raised us with like this achievement-oriented mindset, it was a really big sandbag for me. Now, my parents did the best that they can. I'm grateful for what they gave me. But for who I am in this world, to be an entrepreneur, to be really unconventional, to be a different kind of a spirit in this culture and in this world, it's really been my cross to bear. Oh my God, sorry about that. It's really been my cross to bear that I've had to go upstream. I'm using all these analogies. What the hell am I actually saying? What I'm actually saying is, it's been fucking hard. It's been hard. It's been the things that, you know, I was raised with, the mentalities of just achievement, codependency, like being raised taking care of everyone else and putting other people first before your own needs, of denouncing your own self-trust and intuition. These have all been sandbags for me. So I'm being really vulnerable. I'm being really open and honest with you because I don't believe in me just saying, oh, I have family stuff that's been a sandbag. I want to be very clear. You can love and have real deep ties and relationships to your family like I do, and still have parts of your culture and your family be really toxic to who you are. And that has been my 100% experience. So, in talking to my friends, I have mentors. Seth Godin is a big mentor and friend of mine. Clay is a friend of mine and mentor. I guess all my friends are in some ways mentors. In talking to other close friends of mine, it's become clear that I have had to love my family and my friends, other friends, from afar at times. Like I had to nip the sandbags in order to do what I needed to do. And I'll give you one example. Like when I first moved back to New York in January of this year, I had to really distance myself from my parents. I had to distance myself from my siblings, and not because they're bad people, just because the way that we were operating and some of the things that were in our relationship were definitely not serving me, and they were actually holding me back. So I needed to keep some boundaries, I needed to keep some distance and cut some sandbags. Now, was that easy? No, it was fucking hard as hell. It was really hard. It's still hard all the time to have balanced relationships, not balanced, it's never balanced, to have relationships that are harmonious and loving and at the same time have boundaries. It's still really hard. But what I will say is, the time when I was able to distance myself, most creative time, most able to like be efficient, most able to get the results that I wanted in my work and create. And why that is because who I am and how I source myself is energy, is spirituality, is I use my life and the way that I walk through my life as fodder for what I create. So guess what? I can't be making YouTube videos if I'm mired down in toxicity or grief or any of that. I mean, I can try, and I certainly have. It just don't work for me. It just does not work for me. So this is getting like such a heavy video, but whatever. Life is like that sometimes. And the point is you have to acknowledge. So let me bring it back to you guys after this whole rendition of me. Let me bring it back to you. If you are someone who has been raised in a codependent family, in a super emotional family, in a culture that's repressive or suppressive, which in Indian culture definitely is, there's really great parts of it. There's also super damaging parts of it. Just know that in order for you, if you are a hot air balloon, in order for you to excel, in order for you to really fulfill your potential, there will be times where you need to cut sandbags. And don't view cut sandbags as annihilation, as end all be all. It's not. It's just that for periods of time in your life when you're healing, for periods of time in your life when you need to create, for periods where you need some distance in order to be able to get stronger and train yourself, you cannot fault yourself for that. So when I was talking to Clay, it was super relieving. And he was like, girl, you're a hot air balloon. I mean, initially I was thinking of things like quicksand and feeling mired in quicksand. And he was like, no, it's actually that you're a hot air balloon and these things are sandbags. So you can do all that you can to be in your family in a loving way, in a harmonious way, but just know that you can't fix things, that you can't ultimately, fix that whole situation, and you need to cut some sandbags. And part of us always wants to fight. Part of me always wants to defend my close family and friends and say, no, who are you? F you. That's not. But this is the conditioning that I've been raised with. It's the conditioning that I've been raised with. And your family is the foundational, very first example of safety. So if you've been raised with this, your instinct is going to be maybe similar to that, to protect and resist whatever someone says. When I actually thought about it, he's 100% right. So are my friends, so are my mentors who are resonating and who confirm this hot air balloon analogy, okay? So let me summarize this massively long story. If you are a hot air balloon, if you have energy inside, if you're creating, if you feel optimistic and full of potential in your life, there will be times to cut the sandbags. It will suck, it will feel hard, and you will resist it. And guess what? Ultimately, you'll need to do it, and you'll do it for that time period and you'll see the fruits that it can provide for you, and then you'll realize it doesn't have to be end all be all. It doesn't have to be awful, although it will feel awful. Every time I've done it, it's felt awful, and it does get easier, but it's still hard, okay? So don't fault yourself for that. Know that you need to do it. Like, you need to frickin' do it if you need to do it. Stop questioning yourself. Ask a couple people who you trust, who are outside of that circle, who can help you, and then do it. And I always view life as an experiment. Test it, do it, and see how it feels, okay? Ooh, so thanks for watching. I can't make these if you don't watch, so I really appreciate you being here. Subscribe below so that every time I make a video you can get it if you want it. Like the video, karma baby, it's good karma. I started doing that myself. And share it, especially share it if you or someone else you know were raised in environments that support like not cutting the sandbags, which is a lot of people. It's not talked about a lot because there's like a lot of stigma and shame around it. I am full force talk. I'm reading 4 books about it, okay? So I will talk about it till the cows come home. Share it with people who you need to have the conversation with, who you know are operating the same way, okay? So, that's it. Thanks for watching. Till next time, sayonara. Wow, I just had evil eyebrows going on over there. Woo.